Today we're going to talk about how you know if you're a dark goddess in the flesh, what it looks like, what it feels like, and what it means and what it does in your life. There's a lot. This might be a two-part video by the time I finish. Your life has probably been a little bit chaotic. You've probably had issues with quote unquote authority figures, and I do like to use the quotes on that. You know, people who think they're above you, people who think they're over your head, which I love. That's precious. That's precious. People are constantly, there's always somebody who just is a little bit afraid of you and has some way of trying real hard to compensate for that. Either somebody who talks down to you, tries to micromanage you, or one of my favorites is someone who tries to make y'all's dynamic look like you'd be nothing without them. I love that. That's my favorite one. I've had people, weak men and weak women both, try to train me to believe that if I didn't have them in my life, where would I be? So that's a little something I like to call horse shit. Okay, so keep that in mind. You're fine on your own. You don't need someone. Mentors are good, yes. Mentors are there to inspire you and to make you understand and feel the sensation of knowing that you already have all your power in you. You don't need to siphon it from someone else who's been gracious enough, you little bitch, to bless you and gift you with a little, fairy wand touch of their wisdom and power so that you can see what it might be like to be close to them. Somebody who's making you feel like that is full of shit, and also they're below you, period. So if you've had somebody like that, that's a clue. You had issues with authority figures, that's a clue. You've had uh, spiritual events in your life, that especially ones that continue and happen often. A one-time thing is good, but especially if it's something that just kind of goes on and on. You see spirits off and on. You hear things. You have strange sensations. You hear from the dead. You feel things before they happen. One of the things I do is I know things are going to happen before they happen, especially bad stuff. I can smell it, like not literally, but you know what I'm saying. Like I can feel that shit. I notice it before it happens. I also know when I'm about to hear from somebody. If I get a letter in the mail or an email or a call from somebody, I know within 24 hours or maybe 48 hours if I'm about to get that message from somebody. I already know. Whether it's a person I know or not. It could be a friend of mine, it could be some business trying to reach out to me or something like that. But no matter who it is, within a day or two before hearing from them, I'll know that I'm going to hear from somebody. And I might know who it is. I might know who it is. Sometimes I do. Things like that. If you have what I think is safe to call prophetic dreams, you have dreams that just tell you shit that before it happens. You are channeling some kind of information stream that is letting you know what the fuck is about to happen. That's important. You clearly have some kind of open portal in you that is letting in information, facts, figures, tips and tricks, gold nuggets of wisdom, whatever, from the other side, whatever you want to call it. You're clearly channeling something. So you've got a connection there. You've got a highway there that's already there. Chances are that you've not been taught properly how to navigate that and how to use it for your benefit and for the good of those around you. So it can be confusing to have that information come to you and be like, what the hell? And then things happen. You're like, oh, damn, how did I know that? Well, You have powers. You just do. We've got so few people in this world who are genuine enough and real enough to be able to teach us that shit properly and how to use it properly, that it's hard to have it and like look for a mentor and find the right person, because so many people, most people that are out there are a little bit fake or don't know what they're doing. And then once in a blue moon, you'll run into somebody who really is speaking your language, and that is your mentor for that. But we'll get to that. So, and also when you have jealousy, like I said in the other video that y'all like so much, I'm so glad for that. About why her jealousy confuses you. That's a big topic. That's a really big topic. People don't realize that. Women don't realize how the smart ones, because you've got high IQ women who are real confused about why shit is being done to them. You're intelligent and you're savvy and you're smart and you're very good at a lot of things and your brain is working on all 10 cylinders. But sometimes some basic shit really confuses you, and the reason it does is because you're dealing with somebody who's a fucking idiot. Does that make sense? Ta-da, mystery solved. So that's why, as intelligent as you are and as capable as you are, and we know this, there's still shit that happens and you're just like, damn, why did you do that? It's because you're dealing with somebody who's a fucking dumbass, and what they're doing doesn't make any sense to you because it doesn't make any sense in general, and also they're below you so far mentally that the shit they do isn't gonna make any sense to fucking anybody, especially not to you, because you're way up here and they're functioning way down here because they're dumb. And there's no, don't feel bad about it. I don't feel bad about it. Some people really are just not going to be at your level, period. When you're dealing with the type of shit that we deal with in this, at our plane of existence, there is no room for watering things down, being polite, skipping around stuff, making up excuses for people. We can't do all that. We're done with that. That's over with. We have to stop doing that and just like get down to fucking business and say what the fuck shit is. So that's why people don't like dark feminine energy, is because when it comes in, it blasts away all of the bullshit stuff. It blasts it away. And it crushes untruths, and it pushes away anything that's horseshit. It's a cleanse. She comes in and she hurts feelings and she says shit that hurts people's feelings or gets people's attention or stops people in their tracks. There's a reason for that. Everyone has come to this planet, knowingly or unknowingly. All our asses are here to learn lessons. Period. End of. That's it. We're here to learn lessons. You can learn or you can go hang out over there. It's one or the other. And everyone is faced with that all the time. Learn the lesson, accept it, just take it for what it is, swallow your pride a little bit, just accept it, or get out of the fucking way. And that, you as a dark goddess manifested in the flesh, that is your job to deliver that. To say, look, this is the problem here. You can either sort it out or you can just go sit down. And you can deal with it as and when you're ready, but don't fuck around too long because you don't have that much time. Like, don't waste your life, ignoring what you need to work on. Dark Goddess is here to do a lot of things, but that's one of them, is to bring your attention to shit you need to work on. And I mean, there's a lot of people who don't like that, of course. It's whatever. Whatever. So you still have a job to do. And there's, everybody in the world is exposed to someone at some point in their life, if they live long enough, is exposed to someone in their life at some point who says something that just kind of shocks them. It just kind of makes them say, oh shit, hurt my fucking feelings. Well, girl, yeah, we all get our feelings hurt. This is why you can't, it's one thing, if you're saying something that's true, that someone's been avoiding, and something that they just really need you to focus on, you're already doing that with yourself. You're already keeping yourself in check. That's why it's okay to do your job and do it for somebody, and bring it to someone else's attention when they're doing some shit. This is why boyfriends get mad all the time. because we say shit to them and we say, why are you doing this? Do you understand what you're doing wrong here? You're doing this and you shouldn't be doing it. Don't do that. And you tell them, you have to tell them how to act, and you have to tell them how to treat you and everything else. And then they get their damn feelings hurt, and then they go haywire because they can't stand being told what to do. And they know they're doing wrong. They're not dumb. They just act dumb. There's a difference. They're pretending to be dumb so they don't have to be responsible for anything, but actually they do know when they do wrong. They understand when they do wrong. So when you just say it out loud like that, like an adult, they go haywire because they can't handle being told what they know is true. They just can't take it. Anybody weak is going to have that kind of a reaction. It's not your problem. You cannot feel bad every time someone is taken aback by you speaking an eternal truth. Period. You can't hesitate or think about it later and be like, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't have said that. No, 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 no. No, no, no. Someone has to come down on this fucking planet and tell people what's up. Someone has to come here and say, okay, y'all are doing this wrong, you're hurting yourselves. You should probably stop doing that behavior. you know, wouldn't want to pass it on to your children, would you? Or whoever. Like, why are you torturing yourself and messing up your life with such a shitty self-hating habit? I mean, and you'll know when you see someone who hates themselves like that just through their habits. And when you bring it to their attention, they just go. And even that can be little things, it can be big things. If you see yourself not if you find yourself not connecting to a lot of people, or not having a huge social circle, or not being able to draw in a lot of people that are like you, it's because there aren't a lot of people like you. And that's because you have a message. You're different, you're special, you're on a different vibe, you're on a different frequency. You are on a frequency that only a few people know how to tune into. Only a few. And you've got all these things about you. You've got the spiritual powers. You're seeing stuff, or you're hearing stuff, or you're good at magic. You're good at changing things, or getting a reality that you want, or getting an outcome you want. You have the prophetic dreams. You do astral projection. You can do remote viewing. You do whatever, automatic writing, something. And then you've got people in quote unquote positions of authority who don't like you. And then you've got a lot of people who are jealous of you, men and women, and they're going to show their asses. And there's always one of those somewhere. Your vibe is offensive to a lot of people because it hurts, because it shows them something on a different level that they believe they cannot reach. They think they can't reach that level. That's why their feelings get hurt a lot of the time. And especially with women who are jealous of you, it's going to be when they see you, you don't even know what your deal is. Sometimes, if you're like in the beginnings of your journey and you don't realize how important you are, you're going to sit there and, like I said in that last video, you're going to be confused about her jealousy and not understand what her problem is. There's actually no problem. Put it this way, there's actually no problem. There's no problem here. You are going la-di-da through life not realizing how big of a deal you are. If I was going to pick a problem, it would be that. You don't realize what you are. You go on la-di-da through life. Some stupid person sees you and says, oh, that bitch. She's way ahead of me, and it hurts my feelings, and I'm going to crush her. And really, they can't do that because they don't have the fucking wherewithal. They know that they're jealous, and they know that they're angry about you being important, and they're hung up in that, so they're not going to be able to think clearly enough to really do any real damage. But if they do, it's not like you're not going to just bounce back anyway, because you will, because you always have, and will continue to do so. But all of those things, if your life has seemed to be more like a battle in a lot of ways, that's a clue, because you're here at a totally different frequency, at a totally different level, and you're here to put a message into the world that is so different from what they're used to hearing. They're not used to hearing we'll put it plainly, the spiritual shit that you say, the enlightened shit that you say, whatever that is, whatever your vibe is, whatever your message is, and your thing that you're doing, it's going to be different from everyone else's. So whatever your message is, and however you are, and your frequency that you are here to put out there, they're not ready for it. most of their asses aren't ready for it. So it's going to be hard to make friends. It's going to be harder to have lovers and everything else because that's even more complicated. And it's harder to elbow your way in because you're here, you're babysitting. You're basically babysitting while you're here. You're here with people, a lot of people who are not just not on your level yet, and it can be lonely. And that's one of the issues with being, at that kind of a level, at that kind of a frequency, is that once the higher you go, there's less and less people who understand you. And well, there'll be people who understand you, but there's less and less people that you can really pour your heart out to. And there's less and less, it's slim pickings, you know what I mean? It's easy to do the mainstream shit and just do what everyone else does, and fit in with the crowd and just copy other people, and you just listen to whatever's playing on the radio and just wear what everybody else is wearing, and do what you see on TV, and copy all the new awkward slang words floating around on TikTok. That's easy to do that, to just copy what's around you, whatever. And that's what most people are doing because they're afraid to explore more. They're afraid. They're afraid to meet themselves. They're afraid to meet their own power, most of all. So they don't want to do that, and they've been taught that it's safer to just kind of do what everybody else is doing and just fit in, or else you won't have any friends, and that's scarier to them than just meeting themselves. Um, I mean, meeting themselves is scarier than not having the friends. And so when you're here, it's like forcing a square peg through a round hole, and it's difficult. A lot of life feels kind of difficult sometimes because of who's here. And that's why when you choose to live more authentically and just really choose courage here, you have to really choose courage and say, okay, well, I just won't have a lot of friends, fuck it. And you we're about to get to a next level here, hang on. You say, well, fuck it, I'm gonna live authentically. And you say, I'm going to say what I want, I'm going to do what I want, I'm going to wear what I want, I'm going to carry myself how I want, I'm going to be confident, and no matter what, I'm going to be unshakable, I'm going to have conviction, I'm going to set my eyes on my dreams, set my sights. And you really start living the way you want to live, and you start living for you for once. For once. Once you do that and you really plug into that, all of the people that aggravate you, for the most part, are going to fall away. There'll still be some because, they're going to be everywhere because you're a leader. So most people around you are going to really be followers because that's the whole point. That's the whole point. Sometimes you get tired, and that's when you have to take a break, but that is the whole point, is the rest of them are going to be followers. So when you plug into what you're really supposed to be doing and plug into your real vibe, you will get into that leadership position. But as you do, you will, by proxy, start attracting other people who are also in that leadership position. That's when you realize that your next level up, in fact, come to find out, doesn't have to be lonely after all. See what I did? So if you're at the point where you're feeling lonely because you're as let's put it this way, vibing high and literally no one else is. I know that, I understand that feeling. But the point is, once if you can take the leap to really step into the depth of your true identity, and to choose courage every step of the way, as much as possible, choose courage for yourself, and to have your own back, and not be afraid of what the outcome is going to be, but to count on yourself and have your own back and say, everything's going to be okay. I've got myself. I'm going to live authentically and do this. I'm going to speak my truth, and what happens happens. I'm going to live anyway. I'm still going to live. I'm still going to survive. I'm still going to make it. I'm still going to go to the top. I just have to keep working at it, keep doing it, working on loving and remedying your own weaknesses, working on interpreting your dreams, working on communicating in a way that is clear and plain, so that when you do give your message to people, they understand exactly, they hear exactly what you're saying, and you're speaking your truth clearly and confidently and with conviction and with vibration. Because as you do that, it gets stronger and stronger, and you send it out there, and the person you're speaking to may or may not accept it, and that's fine. That's on them. But as you speak it out, you're still going to hit people who are ready for that frequency. They'll pick up on it, and it'll be somebody you probably have never seen before. You could be out in public talking to somebody and say, well, da, 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 and you speak some truth to them. Doesn't matter what it's about, anything, and they just go, oh, whatever. I don't know about that. It doesn't matter because someone else in the vicinity of your frequency would have picked up on that. They've either overheard it or someone somewhere felt that message. Do you know when you're like doing shit, just doing mundane shit, and then some thought just pops into your mind out of nowhere and it's like a little revelation? Somebody somewhere sent that out into the world because they were being brave. And you picked up on it. The person it was meant for? Probably not. Because you're just chilling in your house doing dishes and all of a sudden you just had this fucking revelation that like has changed, that moment in your life and you're like, oh shit, I'm gonna start living differently now. That you're alone in your home, so no one was talking to you, but you still picked up on something. Because where did it come from? Somebody put it out there. Somebody who is on your vibe, on your frequency, and is ready to bond with you and some way or another connect with you, put that out there and was just hoping that somebody was going to pick up on it. And you did. Y'all are out there. This is why when as you're stepping into your more authentic self and your deeper identity, you have to really pay attention to your intuition and pay attention to shit that goes on in your head. And by that I mean messages and things that pop up out of nowhere like that, especially the stuff that pops up out of nowhere, because that is trying to tell you something. Negative thoughts and things are like low vibe and low confidence type shit. That's a different deal. We'll deal with that in a second. I think I'm going to do a separate video for the low confidence in just a little bit here. But when you are getting a thought in your mind that's like not something you would have usually said to yourself, but it sounds pretty good and it sounds like it's kind of like a revelation, you need to pay attention to that and give yourself a chance to just soak it in and consider it, and don't complicate it, don't overcomplicate it, and don't try to like problem solve it and pick it apart and see all the moving parts. Don't do all that. Just hear it, let it sink in, and just think about that, and just let it sit there, and just let it sit there and be and just vibrate in your head for a little while, and wait and see what comes up naturally after that. Your subconscious mind will take it in and say, oh yeah, oh okay, well what about this? And then all of a sudden you'll start getting more answers from your own self, your deeper self. So don't let your the front of your mind try to get in and start analyzing shit, because that's when you lose the message. Keep it simple, let it sit inside you for a little bit in your essence, and just let it grow on its own, just like a plant. It'll grow. It's going to do it. It's going to produce results, but it's got to do it in its own time. So when you have the courage to put your message out there, you are still, even though it can feel lonely, you're still speaking to somebody, whether you know who it is or not. It doesn't always have to be the person you're speaking directly to. Not always. A lot of times, you're giving the message out and you're speaking a truth and you're saying something that's, you're doing some shadow work for somebody. For example, you're showing them something they need to work on. And you do it enough with yourself so you know it's safe to do this for someone else who's clearly, especially someone who's like real involved with you and you're telling them what they're doing wrong with you. Obviously, this would be the best example, right? And you're telling them where they need to kind of grow up and quit blaming you for shit that they need to still argue with their mother about. Sorry. So things like that. And as you step more into that authenticity and step more into that fearlessness and that courage, you get up to a level where you are opening yourself up to, because you've spoken that truth out there and it's gone whoosh, and the message has gone out and it's vibrated out, it's out there, boom, it's in thought forms now, and it's going into people's heads who are ready for it. You are speaking to people who are open to you, whether you can see them or not. They're open to you because they heard it. There will come a point where you start to really get in with that crowd and you start to get to that next level up that you had no idea was even there, where you can get in with people who vibe with you and who understand you and who appreciate you and who are ready for you, and even better, get into a crowd where there's mentors who are feeling you 100% and can't wait to show you the next step in your journey. This is why I like for example, with my business, a lot of people will ask me, okay, so what do you do? Well, I'm a women's spiritual coach. So a lot of times, uh, being I'm in a small town, so there's a lot of assumptions about what I do before I ever get a chance to explain. And what I do is not congruous with what goes on around here. We'll just put it that way. Now, as much as I've met with resistance and unpopularity when I describe what I do, once in a blue moon, I will somehow speak to in one way or another, or come across somebody who actually gets it. I went to one of the business breakfasts over here at the Chamber of Commerce, and there was a woman there who works at the bank at Fort McClellan, and she is unbelievable. She's unbelievable, and she noticed I was wearing a Lilith pendant the day I met her. Her energy is I can't say enough good things about her. She's fantastic. She is alive. She's just alive. It's the best way I can put it. And me and her were just like, we vibed immediately. I just knew. And I got her contact information, so I've kept up with her. And I met her at another event, at the thing where they the stakeholders meeting where they announced me as one of the ambassadors. So I saw her again there, and I talked to her again there, and she's just as cool as ever. Just I mean, she would seem high strung to a lot of people, like, or maybe real out there, but to me, she's exciting. She's my vibe, and I understand her, and I like her, and she's very open minded and very willing and welcoming and accepting of what I do. And eventually, you get to a point where, as long as you keep speaking your truth, those people will start to trickle into your life. They really will. And then you'll realize, as you go higher up, that in your journey you go higher and higher up the ladder, that it's not as lonely as it seems. It is at first, when you're starting to really figure out how different you are. That's when it's lonely. But after that, you can't give up on yourself. You have to keep moving. You have to keep going. Because as soon as you start to realize that you're different, and you shy away from it and say, well, shit, I guess I just don't have any fucking friends. For a little while, maybe, depending on how much you want to get out. It just depends on how you want to go about it. If you're more of a loner type and you like to sit at home, and you would rather, like, let's say, just get on YouTube and just do videos and put your message out that way, and not worry about all the socializing pressure and stuff, do that. You'll still meet people, because eventually you'll get to a point where you're ready to go out and go to events and meetups and get out in public and talk to strangers and stuff like that. You'll get to a point where you're ready for that. So don't push it. If you're only ready to do one thing when it comes to that, fine. You're still putting your message out. Your job is to awaken this planet, and to breathe life into these people, and show them a mirror, so that they can stop hurting themselves with what they're doing to themselves, and instead choose to start loving themselves, and live better because of that, because of what you did, because you came in their life and said, look, I'm going to tell you something. I want you to think about it. Okay, give it some thought. And eventually they will. Eventually people will. This is why, when you boyfriends are a good example. Boyfriends are a really good example. Women are too proud in the long run to do this kind of stuff, but I have noticed with men that this is what happens a lot of the time. You date somebody for a while, he finally shows his true colors, starts talking to you in a thumbs down type of way. You know what I mean? Just like that talking down to, and the correcting, and the dick measuring, and the competition over who's smarter, all of that kind of stuff. And then you say, oh well, shit, okay, you you weren't doing this 2 weeks ago. I'm not doing this anymore. Bye. and then you just get out, and then it's over with. And then at first they're mad, and it's World War III, and then some time goes by, and who knows how long. It's different every time. They all do it differently when it comes to this. 6 months could go by, a year, 3 weeks, anything, and you'll hear from them. You'll hear from him, and he's gonna say, you know, I just want to apologize. Blah, blah. And if you don't hear directly from him, there's a good chance you'll even hear from someone who knows him, who says, he's doing really miserable after fucking up with you. He let me know how much he fucked it up with you. And I don't know the times I've had that. I don't know the times I've had that. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed by that because, like, I'm just like, well, you know, I don't know if this is a good thing or not. Like, is that so? But the issue, what's going on is they're realizing that they should have listened to you. Should have just listened to you. And I forgot my punchline with that. I'm really sorry. But they're a good example of people. No, okay, now I remember now. So they're a really good example of people who realize, finally give some thought to what you said, and they realize what went wrong. And they're like, oh shit, yeah, I should listen to her. And then after that is when it finally sinks in, and they do eventually choose to do better after that. I crossed paths, if you like, with someone who was a real doozy to me a while back. He was a doozy, and I got the opportunity to tell him how good I felt in my current life at that time. And it felt good to say that. It felt good to be doing better than I had been, and it felt good to be able to say it to him. I got some much needed closure from that. I'm not embarrassed by it either. Um, I'm not ashamed of that. And he took that opportunity to apologize to me for what had gone down between us, which was quite a bit. I won't get into it here, but it was a lot. And he said, I always want to say I'm sorry. That was a dark time in my life. And I, I've, at that time, I wasn't ready to hear that. I was way beyond looking for a apology. Like, I'm beyond that. Like, I don't, I'm not even looking for that anymore. I never did look for an apology. I wanted an explanation. I'm that type. I don't want to hear I'm sorry. I want you to tell me why the fuck you did it. And my problem is I'm looking for an intellectual answer from someone who can't provide it. And I have that problem. I've had that more than once with people. Why did you do this? I'm sorry doesn't cut it. Tell me why. What went through your mind when you decided to shit on me? And it's so shout out to you if you've ever had that thought. But the point is, you get to a point where you see that people really do consider what you've said. So if you've ever felt like your message is falling on deaf ears, even if it is, that's only temporary. But for you to have the courage to keep going and to keep moving up in your life and to keep delivering your message and to keep resonating that power and showing people what courage and dark feminine power and energy and essence looks like, just that fearlessness and that unshakability and that conviction, as long as you keep resonating that and keep being true to yourself and keep demonstrating that is who and what you really are and shining it out into the world, there's always going to be someone somewhere who's ready for that. Your message will not go unheard. You just have to keep believing in yourself and don't forget that you are here for a reason. And it is to raise this world up. And as we continue to do it without giving up on ourselves, there will be more and more of us, and we will get in touch with each other, and we will be able to network and have our own crowd. And your crowd is out there. They're out there. You're not alone in this. It feels lonely, but you're not alone in this. And what I was going to say earlier is that one of my favorite things is about my business. When I use different accounts for different things. The people I follow on TikTok, for example, are people that I'm following just because I like their stuff. Like, that's just like play stuff for me. That's not, I don't go on there to like learn important stuff. But Instagram, the accounts I follow, I got one or two, like, goth fashion accounts I follow, but and just like some other stuff, Egyptology and stuff like that for entertainment. But most of the accounts I follow on Instagram are either close friends of mine or business people who know what they're doing and are at the top of their game. And I'm watching them to get advice and to get tips and to get my mindset right for when I do things and how I handle things and how to communicate better and just how to operate this business better and help people better and serve better. So, and they'll say things that help me get aligned with what I want to do and how to be better at it. And one of the things I've heard that I like is a lot of people who are starting out in their businesses that they when you're online and you're doing stuff and you're saying things, beginners will say, well, okay, what do I post today? What do I post? What do I post? How do I make a sale today? And it's not about that. It's one of my coaches one time told me a while back. She said, it's not about getting online and saying, okay, how do I post the right things so I'll make sales? Because that's not it. You need to get online and say, how do I serve today? How do I serve? And I love that because that really said what I had been wanting to say and hear from someone else, and to know that I was really on the right track. Because it's not, this isn't a, people get so wrapped up in trying to get money or trying to just make sales and get rich and whatever. And the getting rich part's fine. Like the money's good. I'm never going to be against you making money. But the point is for someone who is high vibing, if you like, is to actually be in service and to actually help people. And the dark goddess is in a way in service because what she's doing is helping people realize shit that they otherwise wouldn't ever realize. That's service. She's created this. Your higher self is the creatrix of the universe, and she has put all this together. This is her creation, and by proxy, yours. But you're in a form right now, you're in a little mini version of her who is in service to this in order to raise it up so they can all come up to the surface and see her. So that's why you're in service. But it's not like some position of vulnerability, like this isn't medieval type shit where you just at someone's mercy. It's not that kind of service, you know what I mean? This is like you're in a way you're serving yourself. You're serving your higher self by doing this. And that's how you align and open up that channel and connect because you're showing self-love by serving your higher self that way. So if you've ever wondered about whether or not you are dark feminine or have any kind of dark goddess vibe about you, it's any of that and more. I'll probably do a part two for this because it's a lot, but that's just some beginning stuff I'm thinking about. So I'm going to leave it at that. I think that's it for now. I think that's all I got for right now. I'm going to leave it at that. I hope that this was informative. I hope that this was helpful and illuminating. And I'm going to leave a link down below. If you're on YouTube, it's going to be in the description and in the pinned comment. On Instagram, I'll probably put it in the comments. And TikTok, you guys just have to message me. I can't pin anything there, but I'm going to leave some links down below for you to check out. And I just created a free PDF, and it's called Uppity. And Uppity is about how to really get into your right mind and get into your right mindset in order to tackle what you need to tackle in life and go through this life fully embodying the dark goddess vibe that you have naturally, but you just need to step into it. And it's a matter of getting out of your own way and dropping old beliefs so that you can have a clear pathway to your success by just being authentic and just choosing courage to just be who and what you really are. And once you do that and you have the conviction to do that, you're really and truly unstoppable because you have your own back. And that's the best thing you can have is your own support and that self-love and that self-respect to do that. Once you start doing all that and you step into all of that and plug into those things, you realize that the channel between you and your higher self, dark goddess, it's stronger and stronger. And eventually y'all just align and become one. And then that's the ultimate goal. So the uppity PDF, and I'll put it in the comments for you, is going to be to help you do that. And it's just some things for you to read that are really, really good. And I'm going to put that down there. So that's it. And thanks a lot. And I'll see you next time.